Hey guys, Aaron here with another fountain pen review. And today I was wanting to review another Chinese fountain pen. And this is a pen that I've actually had for a few months now. And I think it deserves a review. And for a few reasons that obviously I'm going to talk about. So when you look at this pen, for instance, I purchased this pen on eBay. And when I first saw it, I thought to myself, wow, that looks a lot like an Edison pen. And I don't personally own an Edison pen, and they are on my list of a pen that I want to own. And I do like the Edison Nouveau, and I know that that's obviously offered on Goulet, for instance. And you're looking at a price point of around $169 for that pen. And rightfully so. It's a beautiful material. I mean, those pens are just extremely, extremely attractive pens. This pen that you see in front of you, though, is made by a company that's called Live in You, or you can call them LIY for short. And they've got some pretty interesting pens. I would say that you could kind of compare them a little bit to Pen BBS. And I own a Pen BBS pen that I do like, and it works very well. But this one, I find myself using more and more for a few reasons. Number one, the color and the material is just striking, especially in person. It's made out of this really, pretty acrylic material that has some depth to it to me. And it's somewhat, you can see through it. For instance, you can see that nib through the cap, which I think just adds to the pen. This is a pen that, again, through the barrel, you can see that converter in there. And, we'll talk about, the overall structure of the pen. Before I do that, this is they call it the caramelized color. Obviously, it's a caramel color. The pen retails on eBay for about $57.90 with free shipping. So it is more expensive. It's definitely on the higher end of like a Chinese pen, or at least what, you would normally pay. So, and that was honestly one of my hesitations on purchasing this pen. And luckily, Chris Rapp 52 did a really good review on his LIY fountain pen. And that really kind of made my decision. He helped me make my decision basically for the pen. And I'm very happy. I feel like it was a good investment. I would like to buy one of the other colors. And in fact, when I purchased the pen, I actually purchased the blue one. They have two different blue ones. I got the one that had more of a translucent material. And unfortunately, the seller sent me a message stating they are out of stock. And so this was actually my second choice. And I wasn't upset because I kind of went back and forth. And I will say, when I got this pen, I'm very happy. It is a very, very attractive pen. So really looking at the pen more closely, you'll notice on the barrel, it's got this tapered in. There's no other material other than just the acrylic. There's no barrel rings, nothing at the end. You'll notice as you look more closely, you have some transparency here. And then this part here, from where they machined, is going to not be transparent, which I think is pretty neat. I mean, I like it. You kind of can see the line where that ends. Moving up towards the cap, there's a slight step up here. You can see the cap threads through the cap. And then looking at the clip, just your basic clip. It's got their logo stamped on it, but I like this clip. I think it suits the pen very well. It's a usable clip. It's very stiff, but it works. And then going up the cap again, you'll see another tapered in. And like I said, it's very similar to the Edison Nouveau. As far as to take the cap off, you've got one full turn. So the cap comes off pretty easily. And it reveals that section. So you've got your cap threads here. There is a very slight step down. You'll see you've got their branding, Live in You, right there. And the section, it is somewhat elongated. It tapers down and then just has a flare out at the end. And then it reveals that nib. And you guys will notice something about the nib. It says Schmidt. So, that was one of the things. I have other pens that have literally this same nib on it. And that's a good thing about Schmidt nibs. They write well. I've never had a pen that had one of these nibs in it that did not perform. And this one is no exception. It performs very well. And I've never had any issues with it. Now, taking off the barrel, you'll notice there's no metal here, no metal inside the barrel. So you can eyedropper this pen. Now, obviously, I have not done that. I've only got a couple pens that I eyedropper. I don't do that a lot. I like to change out my inks. So I'm not somebody that likes to eyedropper, but you have that ability to eyedropper this pen. And I think that's kind of cool. I think for some people that enjoy doing that, this could definitely be a pen that you could eyedropper. As far as the size of the pen, the full size of it is 14 centimeters. Uncapped is 12.5, and then posted is 15.5 centimeters. So I looked up the dimensions of an Edison Nouveau. And again, I'm not trying to say that this pen is as nice as an Edison Nouveau, but just comparing it because it does look a lot like that pen. It is smaller, not by a lot. It is slightly smaller. Doing a sizing comparison, a pen that I think would not be a bad sizing comparison. This is a FPR Himalayan. And then just another kind of random pen I picked out would be this Pilot Custom 74. So, with the tapered ends, or the pointed ends, you're obviously, it's going to seem a little bit more elongated. I will say the pen does feel small. And for instance, when you uncap it, you put it in your hand. For me, it's fine. Again, I don't have huge hands. I have somewhat average size hands, but this is a pen, obviously, you can post, and it posts securely. So if you're somebody that likes a bigger pen, this is maybe one that you would need to post. And again, if you post it, it's going to fit pretty good in your hand. So it definitely works that way. As far as what I like about the pen, I love the material. It is a beautiful, beautiful pen. I think it's cool. Again, you can eyedropper the pen. I think you get a good nib with it. My hesitation, like I said before, was, I have never paid that much for a Chinese pen. So and it's no knock on Chinese pens. It's just, you don't think of investing nearly $60 in a Chinese pen. Usually you're in the sometimes, $10, $20, maybe $30 range. And so it's a little bit of a hesitation for me. But I definitely, again, I don't regret spending that money. And if you're someone that is really interested in the Edison Nouveau and you maybe are either on a budget or you can't afford to spend 170 or more dollars on a pen, this might be at least a temporary option for you. As far as you're going to get a pen with a really, really attractive material that writes very well, and you can eyedropper it. You can obviously tinker with it. You're not investing a ton of money in it. So again, it's a cool pen. There's really not anything I can pick out on this pen that I don't like. It works good. It's pretty. I feel like I can take it just about anywhere and use it. And for me, I don't do fountain pen reviews just of pens just to do them. I mean, when I buy a pen, I buy it because it's something that I want or I'm going to use. So I don't have usually a lot of pens. Now, I do have some that I will review at some point that I don't write with very often. And that's because either the nib just doesn't perform and I don't want to deal with it, or the pen just was not what I thought it was going to be. This is not one of those pens. This pen I enjoy very, very much. That's all I can say about it. Up next, guys, I'll do the writing sample and then we'll finish up the review. I'll see you guys in a moment. All right, guys, I am back. I'm sure you can see former writing samples on the back of this sheet of paper. I am someone that stretches my paper like crazy. I've never mentioned, I don't think I've mentioned any of my former reviews. I use, at least for this, I use Clairefontaine paper. This is a little Clairefontaine notebook. I have a million of these. I use them at work all the time, and I love this paper. So this is the L, I will say Live in You. And this, I think, is a fine nib. And the ink that I am using is Diamine Brandy Dazzle. It's an ink that has some shimmering to it. Can't really see it. If I zoom in more, you may be able to see it. I like this ink. It's pretty cool. There, you can see it better. As it dries, it definitely has that sheen to it, and it has those particles in it that makes the ink shimmer. And it's the only one that I own. And this is probably the second pen I've used this ink in, and I will say it works a lot better in this pen than it did in the last one. Quick writing sample. There you have it. Now, you may hear a little bit more feedback, and part of that, I think, is really the ink. That ink, you'll see the feed there. I'm going to have to clean out that feed. And as much as this ink is very pretty and a joy to use, especially when you see it on paper, as many of you probably know if you've used this type of ink, it's not great for your nib and feed. And it definitely takes a lot longer to clean out. One thing, this nib I do enjoy, and it gives some decent line variation, and you can spit out a little bit of line variation. As far as like fast writing, again, this is not great ink to be using in this pen, but I like it. I think the ink suits the pen color fairly well. And really that's it. So guys, that concludes the video. As I said, this is a really cool pen. I really, really like it. It is probably taken over my favorite Chinese fountain pen. And I've got a lot, and this is probably my favorite one. for a lot of reasons that I mentioned before. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you don't mind, comment down below, tell me what you think about the pen, and I'll talk to you guys later.